What is up, everybody? Let me start out by saying happy Power to the People week. Happy birthday to John and Sean. This week is just full of celebrations and I'm all here for it. I figured this was the perfect time to release something that I've been meaning to record since I received this box set, but it didn't turn out to be the video that I thought it would be, and it's not in a bad way. I'll preface this video by saying, out of everything in this new release, I was most intrigued by the home demos and recordings, which you guys kind of already got that vibe if you watched the unboxing video. I know that there's new and remastered content throughout, but the majority of it is songs that we've already heard John sing on Sometime in New York City. And the new content is fabulous, by the way. But with these home tapes, you only have an early draft of New York City. And between all of that, there's 1950s covers, dialogue, ambiance. So that is what I decided to focus my thoughts on for this video. If you're interested in seeing my thoughts on the rest of the album mixes, please let me know because I would be more than happy to share another video. But for now, let's get to these demos. But what's really gotten my attention are some of the home recordings from John, which I'm so excited about. When I first sat down to listen, I intended to record a full live reaction for all of you guys, going song by song. And to give you some perspective, when it comes to creating content and filming a live reaction specifically, you have to be expressive. Like, if something really hits home for you, you have to be as enthusiastic as you possibly can. Because that's what many people are looking for. A reaction. And I was hoping for that here because we're getting 30 plus new tracks, very personal ones at that. And John is my favorite musician of all time, so I went in with that mindset thinking that that's what I'd pick up on camera. And it was the complete opposite, with the exception of a few moments. Why'd that... Stop. I heard the phone ringing in the background and I thought it was mine for a second. What accent was he trying to do? Okay, Elvis. It's not that I wasn't enjoying what I was hearing, because I did so much. It just felt like more of a time to reflect and connect with him in a way I hadn't experienced since I watched Get Back. And I think that's a large part of what makes this set stand out, among other aspects. So instead I decided I'm just gonna sit down and talk with you guys and speak about my takeaways from listening. So let's just have a nice little chat, one-on-one. Or 1-2-1, you could say. Before this box set was even on our radar, we just had the new 1-to-1 film. And from that alone, I learned so much more about this era of John's life and the country state in the most engaging way possible. It had more of that educational perspective. You know, we got select footage from the 1-to-1 concerts. You heard the stories, you saw the interviews, but it was kind of hard to feel that bond, you know what I mean? Because the clips that we did see from his personal life were so brief, and the audio that we got was primarily the remastered concert footage. It was 95% historical overview with just a few of our favorite tracks thrown into the mix. And I'm not saying that to condemn anything, I'm saying it as an observation. Now, it's one thing to jam out to the rock and roll sound and picture yourself in the arena watching him perform, but here we're taking it in the complete opposite direction. It's the public John versus the private John. Allow me to explain. On stage, you're working, you're putting on a show, you're engaging with the band members that you have on stage, with the fans right in front of you in the crowd. The fans who came to see you be enthusiastic or live up to this image that they've created of you in your head, about who they think that you are based on what they've seen in the press. And the only version of you as a musician that they're able to see is whatever image you put out for the public eye. By getting to hear these home demos, we're seeing the private John, what the world wasn't seeing at the time. And that's better than any live performance in my book. There was no pressure here to be perfect for a crowd because you hear the chord flubs, you see that he's not as powerful on vocals. With the 1-to-1 concerts, that we're seeing that as the culmination of all the work that he was doing behind the scenes. But now we're going beyond the work, where we can see he's just as passionate personally as well as professionally. And by putting it on the last CD in this set, I truly think that they saved the best for last. Now, with the demos closing out the album, it feels like we're taking a step back in time. We're going back to John's musical roots, where it all began in 1950s Liverpool as the American rock and roll scene was making its way overseas. Some of his biggest inspirations were Elvis, Chuck Berry, Buddy Holly, and you hear many of their songs featured here. It's just him and his guitar, which is exactly where it all started, and we're being reminded of that here. We're seeing the point that he's gotten to, headlining the world's most famous arena, and then being shown phone, but look who he is at heart. This is the real John Lennon. He will always be that young, passionate artist from Liverpool. And these demos were the perfect moments away from the chaos. You don't hear the stress of the planning of everything that was going on in his world career-wise. If he has to pick up the phone to answer someone, it's immediately passed to Yoko, who you can hear talking business while John just picks up his guitar and keeps going where he left off mid-song. That's what's so amazing. And you don't hear the stress of all that's going on in his life personally. And we know that the government issues with Nixon and then John's green card dragged on and on. But here, it's all about the music, which is the best escape from reality. From watching and hearing John live on stage, I feel like I didn't get that quality one-on-one time with him. But as I mentioned earlier, this is the part of the album that gives you that experience. If you were to witness my live reaction, 90% of the time I was just sitting there, I closed my eyes, and I just listened. And all of a sudden, it was him in the room with me. And I'm sure it sounds even better with headphones. That's why I didn't have that whole screaming, crying, throwing up reaction that I thought I was gonna have. I realized who I was listening to, and I immediately immersed myself in it because it felt so personal. You hear the phone ringing in the corner, the sounds of New York City below from the St. Regis tapes. I completely forget that we're hearing the same rock star that just performed 2 sold-out shows in New York. I recently listened to a podcast that Sean was interviewed for, and he kind of had that same feeling, the way that I feel about hearing these demos. Because he only knew his dad for a short amount of time, and he said that hearing these, unreleased conversations and recordings, it felt like a way of getting to spend more time with him and getting to know him better. Obviously, as fans, we don't have that exact relationship with John, but this is our chance to see a different side to him and a whole new perspective on his life. I'll tie it into my generation for a second, because we didn't get to experience any aspect of our lives where John was physically here. He passed well before we came along, so really all we have is the music or whatever documentaries and books come out about him. Digging up rare footage like this has completely exceeded my expectations. And it gives me more hope for what is to come or what could be done for other artists. All depending on whatever anyone has access to, of course. This is the best way for us to connect with them personally and take them off a pedestal in a way. Because at the end of the day, John Lennon is just John Lennon. An amazing talent, wise beyond his years, but also just a guy who was here to make music for the people about what he cared about most. And that, my friends, is giving the power to the people. If you guys haven't listened to the home recordings yet, or even the album as a whole, please go check it out. And let me know if you find that same connection, because I think it's just absolutely extraordinary. Power to the People will be streaming starting October 10th, or you can purchase it on whatever physical format your heart desires. Happy listening, and thank you guys once again for showing all the love and support for my content, because it truly means the world. Thanks guys, see you next time.